Hi, I'm Kayla from Inclusion Starts Now, and I'm here to talk to you about my experience with one of my students having a terminal illness, which eventually led to her death. In graduate school, I remember having a class that discussed students who don't have a long life expectancy, and I didn't realize I'd have a student in that category my second year in the classroom. When I first started working in the classroom, it was as a one-to-one aide for a student who is deafblind, but our entire classroom were students who were labeled as medically fragile. My second year as his aide, a new student, Mary, started. She had the biggest, most beautiful eyes and was very observant. She used a wheelchair and required adults to carry her in and out of the chair. She was not able to move around a lot independently. She ate from a bottle and her arms and legs were moved when she got excited or was about to have a seizure. She had the cutest curly hair and her laugh was contagious. She happened to live close to me and I became her aide to ride the bus with her to school every day. Every staff member in the classroom was required to get training from her parents on her medical needs. How to lift her, how to track any seizures, how to feed her, and how to give her asthma medication, which I did have to administer once in an emergency situation. After my second year being an aide, I became a teacher, and my first classroom was during summer school. Half of the class were the students I was already working with, including Mary. This time I was told that the parents had a blog that documented Mary's health. When I looked up the blog, I then learned that she had a brain tumor that was found when she was a baby. I read almost the entire blog about how the parents found the tumor, how they tried to keep up with their big adventurous life, medical emergencies, and trying to give Mary the best life that they could. It was such a great insight into their world, but I wish I had this information as an aide as well. After I became a teacher in a different district, a couple years later, I learned about Mary's passing. I knew that it was going to happen, but it was still a shock. That day felt like a day I was just going through the motions and trying to wrap my head around how this sweet little girl I used to ride the bus with every day is now gone. That there are parents and a little brother who lost a big part of their family. I tried to okay her passing, like she's resting now, no more seizures, asthma attacks, being moved from chair to floor to chair. But the overwhelming thought of this family losing their baby girl too soon made my heart feel tight. I sent a small gift and letter to the family and reached out to the families I stayed close with, the staff members who knew her, to remember Mary and grieve together. I spoke to my partner and he gave me space to share my memories with Mary and her family. If I could have changed anything, I wish I was given the blog sooner. I would have loved having all of this information earlier so I had a better understanding of why certain medical situations were happening. The blog was more for family and friend updates, but I do know aides don't always receive the same information as the teachers, but this felt like information that would have been necessary for everyone. This also made me really shift my perspective as a classroom teacher. Instead of thinking about how can I look the best as a teacher, I started focusing on what do the parents want for their children? How can I give my students the best time at school? As a special education teacher, I was so frustrated how much my students were excluded from their community. People didn't seem to think about how we would participate in school-wide activities and make genuine relationships outside of our secluded classroom. Working with students with disabilities and experiencing student death so early in my career shifted me to solely focus on inclusion. I wanted my students to be making memories and experiencing new things and feeling included in their community. A lot of people argue what the quality of life is for students with disabilities, especially ones with terminal illnesses. And my response is when they are stuck in a room hidden from everyone because of their specific medical needs, their quality of life doesn't seem like a focus for you. What I learned from Mary is that our time here is precious and our community helps us through the hard times. And isn't that what we all want? Working in education is really a trip. Very emotional. So take care of yourself and remember, you can't pour from an empty cup.